It's late at night, I'm at home, and you're probably wondering, who is this lady pulling up to your house? And I gotta be transparent with you. A few episodes back, I said I was at a hotel, and I was. I was conducting some business deals. But I also met someone. I met a representative for the company I was signing a deal with, and let's just say we got friendly, and we started talking, and we began growing a bond. And then we began doing more than talking. And to be honest with you, Karo has never felt these kind of emotions for anything in his life other than scoring goals and seeing his name on the score sheet. But has he finally found the one to make him settle down? And heading into match week 33 of the Premier League, Brentford host Arsenal. And this can be another match where we add to our tally. We just need to perform well and keep doing what we've been doing. And Almeida taking it down the right flank. And Almeida now crossing it in. Ederson there to collect. Nuno turning with the ball, turning once again. Zaire Emery doing well to find Karo. Karo now assessing his options, having a long shot and Flecken with a great save. Whoa, Mason Greenwood on the ball. And Brentford got themselves another bad boy, Mason Greenwood. And Ederson making the save. And Karo on the ball now. Passing it to Saka. Bukayo Saka. Finding Watkins, who finds Karo. Karo laying it off for Saka. Watkins on the ball, finding Karo. And now Karo cutting in. Heading towards goal, having a shot, putting it into the back of the net. And the Gunners up 1-0 right before the end of the half. And Jan Helt passing it to Norgard, who finds Almeida. And now Almeida laying it off for Greenwood. And Greenwood now. Jan Helt passing it to Greenwood. Saliba there with a great bit of defending. Are now finding Karo. Denis Karo with a little bit of a shimmy. Passing it to Saka. Bukayo Saka cutting in. A brilliant pass to Karo, who gets past the defense and just slots it into the back of the net. And the Gunners up 2-0, courtesy of this gunman Karo and his partner in crime, Bukayo Saka. What a partnership by these two. And are now unable to deal with it. And now Hugo Duro having a shot by Ederson with a save. But Hugo Duro is there to collect the rebound and smash it into the bins. And Brentford find themselves back in this match. Zaire Emery passing it to Karo. Di Lorenzo to Greenwood. Greenwood crossing it in, but Balerdi there with the clearance. And now Duranville finding Karo. Karo on the ball, passing it to Duranville. Duranville back to Karo. Denis Karo with seconds left in this match. Denis Karo still on the ball, having a shot and just putting it into the back of the net, completing a beautiful hat trick. Add it to the collection. Add the 3 points to our point total. Add the match ball to my locker room. And with that 3 points collected, Arsenal find themselves at the top of the Premier League table with 83 points. Manchester United trailing in second with 74 points, which means we are just a few wins away from clinching the Premier League title. And as we focus on match week 34 of the Premier League, Arsenal host Southampton. And if you know anything about Arsenal, you know that they always struggle with Southampton. We've got to be on tip-top form if we want to clinch this Premier League title as soon as possible. And here's Karo passing the ball to Arnau. Rabiot on the ball, finding Zaire Emery. Karo now with a brilliant touch. Karo cutting in, having an outside the foot shot, but Lumley with the save. Bukayo Saka cutting back, passing it to Rabiot. Rabiot finding Karo. Arnau finding Saka. Arnau finding Karo now. Karo finding Arnau. Saka on the ball. Bukayo Saka cutting back, passing it to Karo. And Karo passing it to Saka. Watkins finding Karo. Karo finding the keeper's gloves. An absolute dog shit shot by Karo. Malacia passing it to Small Bone. Konate with a brilliant interception. Saka finding Arnau, and Arnau finding Watkins. Watkins finding Karo. And now Karo sees red, heads towards goal, and Denis Karo is gonna surely... How the hell did I just do that? A truly shocking shot. Smallbone passing it right to Zaire Emery. Karo now finding Watkins. Watkins finding Yang Min Hyuk, who passes it back to Karo. And Denis Karo turning with the ball, unable to get past Mendy, but Watkins with a brilliant tackle finding Yang Min Hyuk, who finds Karo. And Karo finds the lower right corner of the net and does a little backflip and barely sticks the landing. And I think I just broke my knee again. Nevertheless, Arsenal find themselves up 1-0 against Southampton. And Karo doing brilliantly to get the ball. Denis Karo heading towards goal. Still on the ball. No defenders want to challenge him. And Karo with a left-footed shot making Lumley stretch. And Bradley passing to Archer. Matsuki passing it back to Charles. And this match has come to an end. Arsenal pick up a crucial 1-0 victory against Southampton. And with that victory, we find ourselves in first place in the Premier League with 86 points total. And Manchester United have all the pressure in the world, as you can see, because if they lose, then that means we do clinch the Premier League title. And shifting our focus to the semi-final of the Europa League, we face off against Bologna, while Newcastle United face off against Feyenoord. And in the first match of the semi-final, we find ourselves traveling to Italy, traveling to Bologna. And here's Karo on the ball, looking to impress. Immediately lobbing it over to Bukayo Saka, but the pass is too far. Watkins passing it to Yang Min Hyuk. Yang Min Hyuk back to Watkins. Watkins finding Rabiot. Adrien Rabiot lobbing it over to Karo. And Karo settling it with his chest. And Denis Karo having a shot from distance. But Ravalia with a save. And Gunter passing it to Saka. Are now finding Karo. And now Karo assessing his options, passing it to Saka. Saka finding Watkins. Karo calling for the ball. And Karo getting the ball. And Karo heading towards goal and smashing it into the back of the net. And putting Arsenal up 1-0 in the semi-final of the Europa League. And Arsenal with a very important lead in the semi-final of the Europa League. Conceição passing it back to Posh, who finds Fabian. And now it's Ferguson having a shot, but Ederson cradles it like a baby. And now Ederson rolling it off. Ferguson on the ball. And a brilliant pass to Okafor. Okafor finding Ferguson. And Ederson with a great save. But Conceição has other plans. And Cambiaghi passing it right to Karo. Karo turning with the ball, passing it to Saka. Saka back to Karo. And now Karo has some space in the right flank. And Denis Karo still on the ball. Heading towards goal, getting muscled off the ball, but still on the ball. Having an outside the foot shot, but just wide it goes. And now Karo heading towards goal, cutting in. A brilliant bit of skill by Karo. And Karo finding Watkins. Watkins finding Saka. Bukayo Saka cutting back. Passing it to Watkins. Watkins finding Saka once again. Saka laying it off for Karo, who finds Watkins. And Watkins is unable to convert. And here's Stiller on the ball. Stiller with a great pass to Cucho. And Cucho on the ball. Cucho having a shot, but Ederson with a great save. Okafor crossing it in. Guter heading it wide. And Cucho passing it to Stiller, who has a shot and puts it into the back of the net in the last few moments of the match. And he's just done the calm celebration on our head top. We are absolutely in the mud. And with that last minute dagger, Bologna find themselves crawling back into this match, resulting in a 1-1 draw. Meanwhile, Newcastle United just got done smashing Feyenoord 4-2. And looking at match week 35 of the Premier League, Arsenal face off against West Ham United. And West Ham, of course, is the home team for this match. Always a tough match for Arsenal. And I know I keep saying that, but that's the kind of stress you go through as an Arsenal fan. You have all kinds of teams pulling all kinds of results on you. And here's Karo finding Watkins. Watkins turning with the ball, passing it to Karo. Karo through on goal, having a shot and just smashing it into the bins. And Arsenal getting a nice and early lead in the 4th minute of the match, courtesy of their main man, Denis Karo. A brilliant goal by Karo, a brilliant goal by Arsenal. And Arsenal up 1-0 within the first 5 minutes of the match. And Barco passing it to Nusa. And Earthy on the ball, cutting in. Earthy having a shot. Ederson with an easy save. And Nusa on the ball once again. Karo trying to put his foot in there. And Nusa still on the ball, threading it through to Gyökeres, who has a shot and just off the post. And wide it goes. And here's Karo passing it to Saka, Bukayo Saka, able to find De Vries. Saka back on the ball, passing it to Karo. Denis Karo, unable to get past Barco. And Karo throwing it to Saka. Saka back to Karo. Denis Karo on the ball, crossing it. But Mavropanos is there to clear it out. Or is he? And Kudus passing it right to Leno. Leno booting it out. Earthy finding Alvarez. Alvarez finding Earthy. And Earthy on the ball, finding Rodriguez, who threads it through to Kudus. And Kudus cutting in, having a shot. And oh my, what a brilliant goal. Sometimes you can't even hate, you just gotta applaud. Partey passing it to Rabiot. Rabiot to Karo. Karo now trying to work some magic. Karo on his left foot, shooting it right at Leno. And here we have Karo trying to monitor the situation. And Barco lobbing it over. Watkins trying to intercept. Aguero finding Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka passing it to Earthy. Earthy turning with the ball, finding Alvarez. And now DePaul having a shot. And oh my, another brilliant goal by West Ham. And Arsenal truly in the mud now. 1-0 up, 2-1 down. And De Vries passing it to Karo. Denis Karo with a ball roll, passing it to Saka. Saka finding Watkins. Watkins having a shot. Saliba finding Karo. Karo finding Duranville. Watkins finding Duranville. Watkins finding Karo. And Denis Karo unable to get past Aguero. But Saka's on the ball, having a shot. And Leno's there to make the save. Saka on the ball, cutting back, passing it to Karo. Denis Karo on the ball. Karo still on the ball. Denis Karo cutting back in on his left foot. An outside the foot shot, but easily landing into the hands of Leno. And Arsenal collect a 2-1 defeat at West Ham. And with that defeat, Arsenal will collect 0 points, bringing their point total to 86 points after 35 matches played. Manchester United on 75 points with a game in hand. Man United need to win out their season and hope for Arsenal to lose. And as we turn our attention back to the Europa League semi-final, Arsenal hosts Bologna in the second leg of the semi-final. The first leg ended 1-1, courtesy of a last-minute dagger by Bologna. And now Karo looking to win this match with his teammates. Conceição passing it to Fabian. Fabian back to Posh. Posh losing the ball to Yang Min-hyuk. Yang Min-hyuk making a run. Karo finding Yang Min-hyuk. Yang Min-hyuk now in acres of space on the left flank. Passing it to Karo, who finds Ollie Watkins. Watkins heading towards goal, smashing it into the near post. Can you believe it? What a brilliant team goal by Arsenal. A brilliant finish by Ollie Watkins. And a beautiful hug for Mikel Arteta. And as you can see, that goal meant the world to Ollie Watkins, who was just skipping around that field in absolute joy. And Watkins putting Arsenal up nice and early in the second leg of the semi-final. Conceição passing it. And now Posh on the ball, crossing it in. And Cucho with a shot, but oh my, Ederson with a great save. Watkins settling the ball. Rabiot finding Karo. Karo now finding Watkins. Watkins, a brilliant pass to Bukayo Saka, who finds Karo. And Karo, a touch past the defender, having a shot, and oh my! A terrible chip attempt by Karo. And now, Stiller settling the ball. Fabian finding Conceição. Fabian on the ball, having a long shot, and Ederson there with a save. Dalinga passing the ball. Okafor back to Dalinga. Dalinga finding Ferguson, who has a shot, and Ederson stretching. A very big save by Ederson. Partey doing well to settle and pass the ball to Karo. Denis Karo finding Saka. Watkins turning with the ball and finding Karo, who turns himself, and Denis Karo having a shot and putting Arsenal into the final of the Europa League, as we have just taken a 2-0 lead in this match, nice and late, and surely there's no time for Bologna to respond. And Watkins finding Karo, and Karo cutting in, getting brought down, and this match has come to an end. Arsenal win 2-0 on the night, 3-1 on aggregate, which puts us into the final of the Europa League, where we will meet up against Newcastle United. Arsenal have a chance to win their first ever Europa League, and it's going to be against some very tough opposition. And focusing back on match week 36 in the Premier League, Arsenal travel to Ipswich Town in a match where a draw will see us become Premier League champions. And here's Karo. De Kuiper passing it to Diego Lopez. And here's Shimodex passing it to Wharton, who threads it through to Delap, who makes Ederson stretch for the save. And Saliba finding Rabiot. Rabiot unable to pass to Karo, and Delap having another shot, and Ederson with another save. Ogbene on the ball, passing it back to Johnson. Wharton finding Shimodex, and Shimodex having a shot, and oh, whoa. Nothing much happening in this match, and we are only seconds away from being crowned Premier League champions. Here's Karo with a big boot, and that will see the final whistle, and Arsenal have won the 2026-2027 Premier League. A brilliant display throughout the season from the Gunners. Defensively, superb. Offensively, incredible. Arsenal's first Premier League trophy since back in 2004 when they were crowned Invincibles. And look at what it means to the team right here as they just jump around and celebrate. And while we have officially won the Premier League, it is no time to start celebrating just yet, because we still have a Europa League final to play against Newcastle United. And taking a look at the Premier League table, you can see here, with that draw, we bring our total to 87 points, clinching the Premier League title. A brilliant display throughout the season from our team sees us win the Premier League. And looking at the Europa League, you can see the road that we have been through to get to the final, where we'll face off against Newcastle United. And taking a little preview at what we can expect next episode, we can expect to cap off the Premier League season and finally lift that beautiful Premier League trophy. And we will also be playing in the final of the Europa League against Newcastle United. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.